All right. The Bengals, Rob, and Jamar Chase, and you saluted him for,
just standing up for himself. I know it's stacked up against him, Chris.
Yeah, it really is.
It just is. I mean,
but he looks like he practiced yesterday. He did not practice today because of rest. That was the reason, rest. I mean, he hasn't been practicing at all, and now he needs rest. But he rested. But it looks like he's going to play, Rob. They face the Patriots on opening, their opening game. What are you thinking about the Bengals this year? They got a very good team, and they're one of the few teams. I mean, really, I think the only team, at least in the AFC, that's given the Chiefs some problems. Joe Burrow's had success against the Chiefs.
In Kansas City in a big game,
Yep.
Yeah.
Beat them, of course, to get to the Super Bowl one year. So what are you expecting from the Bengals this season?
To me, Chris, it's all about Joe Burrow. And we have seen it. And his stamp on that team, what he's been able to do. So if he's healthy, I think he's going to be a force. I know a lot. He's out of sight, out of mind. People are kind of downplaying him a little bit, right? They've lost some players.
You just want to see him be healthy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but if he's healthy, he's as good as all those quarterbacks we talk about constantly. He really is. He just to get that team, Chris, to a Super Bowl his second year after only playing, what did he play, 6 or 7 games his rookie year?
He got hurt, yeah.
He played 7 games, and the next year they're in the Super Bowl. And that was a team for a long time with a history where they couldn't win a playoff game, you remember?
Yep.
They lost like 7 in a row. Marvin Lewis.
Credit to him, man, for getting them.
They were good, Chris. Yeah, they were good.
You credit him, man. I know they didn't win a game, but my goodness.
And they had a couple of stinkers, like when things
Dalton
turned.
As his quarterback. Like he had a great quarterback.
Marvin Lewis. That was the Bengals were a good team under him.
Yep.
They just couldn't get a playoff win, but they were good.
Right.
So I'm looking for them to be in the mix. We already know that division is tough as nails, but the Bengals will be involved in the conversation.
Yeah, I like the Bengals. Burrow, Rob, is 3-1 in the regular season against Patrick Mahomes, which is, I mean, that says
that speaks volumes. It does.
It
does.
And I don't think he's as good as Mahomes, but he's had success against him, so you got to give him credit. He did what you and I said he should do.
Yep.
Which is go to the Bengals and turn them around.
When they would tell everybody, about he should tell them, don't draft me. I don't want to play there. Don't go to that organization. And I just wasn't hearing that. I'm sorry. He's from Ohio too. Why not?
Rob, the Chiefs weren't. I mean, I know they're a historic organization, but they hadn't had much success.
Chris, they hadn't won in 50 years. What are you kidding?
Patrick Mahomes.
Hank Stram,
Patriots,
was it Hank Stram, their coach?
Yeah, when they won with like Lynn Dawson.
Yeah, but that was like
that was in the early 70s.
70s, right?
Patriots, Rob. When we were coming up, the Patriots were an afterthought. They made a Super Bowl with Steve Grogan. I think they made another one before Brady got there.
They made one with Bill Parcells, right?
Yeah, with Parcells, but they hadn't won one, and they weren't viewed as some historically great franchise.
Nope.
San Francisco, Rob. San Francisco before Montana and those guys, they were never really that good of a franchise for the most part.
No.
I mean, guys that are special turn teams and franchises around. It's simple as that.
We talked about it. We talked about it with. I know people get tired of us talking. But the Bulls and Michael Jordan, the Bulls were awful. People need to understand, the Bulls were awful.
Yeah, you're right. People don't seem to get that, Rob. Like, it's almost like they feel like Jordan went to a team that was, was close or something. No, they were horrific. Horrific. And obviously he turned them around. So, yeah, that's what the special ones do. That's what Burrow's done. I think they're going to have a strong year. I think there is a feeling there. And Burrow was right. He said it a few years ago, Rob, that the Super Bowl window will be open as long as he's in his prime. And I think that's the case for the greats. You know, Josh Allen, I don't think can get to the Super Bowl this year, but the window will be open throughout his career.
Yeah, how open?
Varying degrees. Varying
I was going to say
degrees.
that's you could
but,
say
and
that.
You may not win it. Jim Kelly never won it, Rob. Was the window open pretty much his whole prime?
Yeah.
Yes. You know, when you're that level of player, you may have a down year. Drew Brees had 3 straight years of 7-9 football when they didn't even make the playoffs. You know, Aaron Rodgers, Rob, had a couple down years. But generally, when you're that Hall of Fame caliber quarterback, the window is essentially open throughout your prime. And that's what it's going to be with Burrow. But I do feel like, Rob, there's kind of a sense there of this is the year to get it done.
What, for the Bengals?
Jamar, yeah, because T. Higgins I doubt he'll be back. He's franchise tag receiver. They're going to pay Jamar, if not this year, next year. Trey Hendrickson wants money. And you know how we talked about how cheap the Bengals are, Rob. And I think that, unfortunately, maybe the success and greatness of Joe Burrow, they might take advantage of him. He's gotten paid, but they may look at it like this guy is going to carry us even if we don't have all these high-priced guys around us.
They better be careful with that.
And they could take. We've said it. If they win the Super Bowl this year, Rob, I would not be surprised if they let a lot of money walk out the door.
Oh, I think they would. I just think they would get what they wanted. And then, Chris, that builds you equity with fans. Fans will be all right for the next few years.
Your Super Bowl. Yep.
Like that's just the reality of it. Like, winning every so often is all fans want. They really do. Like, they really don't expect you to win every year. It's just not possible.
It's interesting because in Denver, there were reports now that there's a little tension between the front office of the Denver Nuggets and their head coach, Mike Malone. And Rob, I haven't talked to anybody out there, but I get it if it's true. Like, Michael Malone wants to win every year. And you see, Rob, every year the Nuggets are losing guys, right? That Bruce Brown they let walk.
Right.
Now they let KCP walk. And I'm sure Michael Malone is like, what are we doing?
Right.
Like, we have the best player in the league. We got a chance to build a dynasty, and you're letting players walk out the door.
Because they won. They won. They won when nobody thought that they would win, Chris.
Yep.
They won.
They're the only show. I mean, I know you got the Broncos and the Rockies and all that.
Right.
But I mean, the Nuggets are loved in Denver.
Yep.
Right? And they're going to draw fans for the most part, Rob, no matter what, as long as they're fairly competitive. And the owners know that. And they're like, we got our championship. If we win another one, great. But I think that's probably their mindset.
But I think that's a lot of teams. They unless you have something really going and money's not an option, we talked about it.
An obstacle.
Yeah, when the Yankees were rolling off in the late '90s and whatnot, like they weren't going to change that team or not pay to add players to that. They had a dynasty going, Chris. They had a dynasty,
and I respect that. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I almost want to say to these owners, if you're not willing to spend money, then don't buy the team.
Right. I don't get it either. Not when you're like that and you have a team.
You got billions.
Yep.
Come on. I mean, I really don't like that at all. It's about competition. Your money's going to grow. These teams appreciate like nobody's business.
Right.
So come on.
They're crying bloody murder. Got plenty of money.
Absolutely.
$14 French fries. That's all you need to know.
Right.